All right, Eagle Nation, short week, but the Birds are looking to bounce back in a big way. However, they're going up against an offensive juggernaut. Can they find a way to pull out the win? We'll talk about how they will attempt to do so. And unfortunately, the injury bug has struck the Eagles again at the worst possible time. So who steps up? Who gets the job done? We'll talk about it all, but welcome in to A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy our show. Unfortunately, we have to start it off yet again, almost a deja vu here, by talking about a major injury. That is right. According to the coaches, according to Nick Sirianni, CJ Gardner-Johnson will be a game-time decision tomorrow as the Eagles travel to New Orleans to take on the Saints. Similar to A.J. Brown, they said he tweaked something at practice. They said it was a foot injury. We don't really have more substance than that. CJ Gardner-Johnson didn't speak to the media, and he said, I'll see you Sunday. So, I mean, hopefully he suits up, but right now, he wasn't at practice yesterday. It doesn't seem very possible that he will do that. Nick Sirianni gave no update on A.J. Brown or Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So, you lose your best weapon on the team on the offensive side, and now you lose one of your best versatile playmakers on the defensive side. You're talking about a defense that has a lot to prove, that already is stacked up against the odds, going up against an offense right now, who, by the way, is fourth in NFL history through 2 games when it comes to total points. And to lose one of the best defensive pieces, best defensive weapons against an offense that is on absolute fire right now is already a sign of trouble for this struggling Eagles defense. Now, I do want to bring up the Saints injury report as well. They have a lot of guys banged up, as you see here yesterday. 4 guys listed as limited participants: Marshawn Lattimore, Talise Fuaga, Tyrann Mathieu, and Cedric Wilson. Seems like they're all going to be able to play, though. I mean, they were full participants mostly on Friday. Rashid Shaheed, Jalen Ford seemed to be fine to go, but we'll see what happens with Taysom Hill, Kalen Saunders, Landon Young, Will Harris, and A.T. Perry. I also do want to mention Jalen Carter because he needs to step up, and he admitted on Friday to the reporters that he actually was benched for the first series last game. This was brought up, I believe it was Jeff McLean who put out a tweet saying, yo, Jalen Carter was not on the field on the first drive. And everybody said, wow, that's interesting. We'll find out more as we go on. Then there was rumors. Vic Fangio tried to play it down. And Jalen Carter said, no, I actually was late. And then he said, the lesson, don't be late. So, Jalen Carter was kind of chuckling about this. It is what it is. I don't know why they benched him for 1 drive. I mean, what is this? High school football? Discipline the guy behind the scenes, let him play. I don't know. I don't really care at this point. I just need Jalen Carter to step up, and he knows that as well. He was asked about his play so far this season, and he said it was, quote, trash. He needs to play better. The whole defensive line has to make a statement. This is the game where they can do that. Short week. Forget about everything that happened on Monday night. Just go out and play ball. This game comes down to essentially 2 things for me. There's a lot more, but if these 2 things don't happen, the Eagles are not going to win this game. Number 1, they have to have significant improvement in the trenches, okay? Talking about offensive line, defensive line, mostly defensive line, right? If Bryce Huff, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, if all these guys don't come out here and erupt, you're not winning this game. The Saints put up 47 points in week 1. They put up 44 in week 2. They have a lot of explosive weapons on the offensive side. Derek Carr looks like a superstar right now. Now, I will say, on the other hand, Derek Carr has done this before. There have been seasons with the Raiders where he started off on fire, and then he comes back down to earth. Why? Because he's not in that tier 1 of quarterbacks. He's playing really well right now, and I don't want to take that away from him. But similar to a guy like Kirk Cousins, if you throw him different looks, throw him some stunts, it just confuse him. If you get in his face a little bit, he's not the most mobile. He's not going to be able to make things happen. Now, am I confident that Vic Fangio's defense is going to do that on Sunday? No, I'm not, because they haven't shown that they have the ability to do it. Vic Fangio didn't seem urgent to do it. He's more worried about stopping the run. Well, I got to tell you, Vic, Derek Carr is throwing it all over teams right now, especially the Cowboys, who are apparently supposed to have a pretty good defense with Mike Zimmer. They had 40 plus hung on them. The Saints haven't scored below 40 points. And obviously, like I said, the offensive line has to hold up. You look at this Saints defensive line. I mean, they're not special. Cam Jordan is getting up there in age. He's slowing down. He's been a monster his whole career. But, I mean, he's, who knows how much he has left in the tank. Carl Granderson on the other side. They do have Chase Young, who, never really lived up to that top pick potential, got hurt a lot. They have a couple other guys. Demario Davis is kind of that chess piece they want to move all around. He's had 6.5 sacks each of the last 2 seasons. I do think they have a strong secondary led by Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, coming back home. I mean, he's been really good for them. You have Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, and they even drafted Kool-Aid McKinstry in the 2nd round. A lot of people thought that the Eagles should have took that guy out of Alabama, but he's been a lockdown so far. I think the back end of their defense is a lot better than the front, but, if your offensive line can hold up, give Jalen Hurts some time to throw, the Eagles have to put up a lot of points in this game. I will say the 2 starts that Jalen Hurts has made against the Saints in his career, the one he played really well was his first start after the whole Wentz benching. And then the second one, I believe it was in 2021, where it was his rookie year. Eagles were still struggling, trying to make a playoff push. Jalen played really well in that game. He had 3 rushing touchdowns, didn't make mistakes, and he went out there and put the team on his back. So Hurts has played 2 really good games against the Saints. However, this is a different year, different team. Like I said, look at these stats from last week. Derek Carr didn't have to do much. 11 for 16, 240, 2 touchdowns. Alvin Kamara had 4 touchdowns against the Dallas Cowboys. 3 in the first half. He had 115 on the ground. He had 65 receiving. All right, then you have Rashid Shaheed, who made the big plays, 96 yards, 4 catches, a touchdown. My other key in this game is you got to be able to hold them on the first level. You got to be able to tackle, got to keep them in front. And I know Vic Fangio's defense plays to this strength. I also could think that could become a weakness in this game if you're just letting the Saints get those little chunk yards all the way down the field. Same way you did with the Falcons. That's not going to work either. You have to find that right balance as a defensive coordinator. You have to really know when to draw up those little wrinkles, and you have to be able to do it consistently and throw these defenses off. You got to get them, in optimal situations on 3rd and long. You can't let them just continue to eat you up all day, run the clock off. It's not going to work in this game. The Saints have been way too good. They have sky-high confidence right now, and honestly, they have a lot of big-time playmakers. They have a lot of weapons. Right? If we look at the Saints this year, it hasn't just been one guy. I mean, Alvin Kamara, like I said, he's got 5 touchdowns, but you also have Jamal Williams as a complimentary back. Taysom Hill's kind of that decoy piece. You never know what they're going to do with them. Shaheed, Kamara. Keep in mind, they have a former first-round pick in Chris Olave. Couple tight ends who both have a touchdown, Foster Moreau, Jawan Johnson. So it's not just one guy on this offense, It is a ton of guys contributing. I don't think the Saints are this good. I think they will come back to life, but, the Eagles have to force them into that. And so far, I just have not seen enough substance in terms of this defense. I also am a little bit concerned about Kellen Moore. You're playing again without your best weapon in A.J. Brown. Last week, it looked like everything from week 1 that worked went out the window. How will you be able to scheme against the Saints defense? Like I said, pretty good secondary, but their defensive front is nothing special. Will you utilize the middle of the field? Will we finally see Dallas Goedert get more targets in this game? There's absolutely no reason, any way, shape, or form, that Dallas Goedert should not have more targets than Britton Covey. You can't do that. You have to use your best weapons in the red zone. You have to use these guys. Saquon Barkley should come out with 5 carries to start this game. Even going back to the Saints offensive line, Trevor Penning, their right tackle, is going to be lined up probably against Bryce Huff. I mean, he hasn't been anything special, over his first couple of seasons, former first-round pick. On the other side, they got Talise Fuaga, who's a first-round pick this year. You should be able to break through. The Eagles' D-line is the key to winning this game. It's going to be the key every single week until they do it. Funny enough, if you guys don't know, one of my childhood friends also plays for the Saints. He's on their offensive line, Cesar Ruiz. And, I've told him, please take it easy on us. Take it easy on us. Obviously, I'm kidding, but not really, right? The Eagles D-line needs to generate some pressure. I think that's the other main question in this game. What do you do to replace CJ Gardner-Johnson? I know he's still getting reps under his feet, but you know what? Let the young kid go out there and make some plays. If he can show up and arrive in this type of moment, then he shows that he's that guy for the future. I mean, you got to step up and make some plays, right? I think they're going to play Avonte Maddox. He played pretty well last week in the nickel. Maybe they play Avonte at safety and put DeJean in the nickel, put Quinyon on the outside. Is Isaiah Rodgers going to play? That could change everything, right? You could play Rodgers on the outside, Quinyon in the nickel. You could put DeJean back at safety or Avonte. I think they're going to even probably throw Ringo in. We saw him a little bit last week. It's all up to the personnel and the scheme, but I think you got to let some of these younger guys go out and show their worth and show that they're ready to go. So That's what I would do. Use all your playmakers. Use whoever's going to show up. You have a couple extra guys sitting around, so it's not just like you're on, your last couple of players. Like you have to find out what will best optimize success for this defense. Eagles are going to have to make some really good tackles. Former Saint Zach Bond is going to have a big game. Same with Nakobe Dean. Saints OC Clint Kubiak. He's the son of former head coach Gary Kubiak. He's done a great job in his first couple of games, scheming things up, finding those mismatches, and he's already looking like he's going to be a head coach next year, but they got to find a way to stop some of what he's doing. So we'll see if they can do that. I'm expecting a heroic game from Jalen Hurts. I think the offense will play better, but can the defense finally break through? That's the ultimate question. In terms of my prediction for this game, I know Eagle fans won't like it. I just always go with my gut. I go with what I feel, and based on everything I've seen so far, I just don't know how this Eagles defense has enough to stop what the Saints are doing. Right now, they're on a historic pace. I don't think this is the game they come down to earth, especially at home. Eagles on the road. I'm going to pick the Saints to win this game somewhere in a range of 34-24. I think eventually they will be stopped, but it won't be the Birds because I don't believe yet in this defensive line until they show me they are capable of doing it. So I'm picking the Saints to win this game, Eagles to drop to 1-2. Give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. Look, I hope I'm wrong. I hope they prove me wrong. If they do, then I'll pick against the Eagles every week until they don't prove me wrong. So give me your thoughts down below. Appreciate everybody tapping in. Also, real quick, let's go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsor of today's video. It is the great BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using our code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. When you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to parlays, live bets, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. So sign up today with the bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you do not win your first bet. Brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Download the app today. Please gamble responsibly.